Hi, this is John from Gravwell. In this video, I'll explain Gravwell macros, a feature that can turn long, repetitive search queries into easy-to-remember shortcuts, and which enables some of the flexibility of our Kit system. Let's start by looking at a simple example. Suppose I've got servers feeding syslog entries into several tags: syslog web1, syslog web2, syslog idx1, and syslog idx2. Now, this is all well and good, but I intend to run a lot of queries on these tags, and it would be nice if I didn't need this big old string at the start of every single one of them. What I can do instead is I can define a macro. So macros are managed here under the Tools and Resources submenu in the Macros page. Click Add a Macro, and I'm going to call this macro syslog. We call it my syslog tags as the description. And now in here, I'm going to put that list of tags. So what I'm doing here is I'm defining a macro called all caps syslog, and it's going to contain these tags. And now when I run a query and I put in $syslog, it's going to expand out to that list of tags. So let's save this. We'll go back to the new query page, and I'm going to type tag equals syslog. And you can see down here, it expands in the actual query portion. It expands out to all that list of tags that I had before. And so I could just run this, and I see the same results that I was seeing before. Now here's where macros get more powerful. Suppose we make a semi-useful search. Stats count by tag, pipe to chart count by tag. Let's run that. And I'm going to go ahead and view this as a pie chart. We have our nice little pie chart here showing that we have equal numbers of each of these 4 tags. I'm going to add this to a dashboard. Create a new dashboard. I'm going to call it my dashboard, and I will call this count by tag. So I've got my little dashboard here. It's got my query in it. Now, suppose I start getting entries in a different tag, say syslog email, and I want to include this in all my queries in the dashboard. Maybe I've got a dozen tiles in this dashboard, all running different queries, all using that syslog macro. Now, I could go through, if I was just putting the tags in manually, I'd have to go through each one and modify every single query. But because I've used a macro, what I can do is I can go in here and I could say syslog email, save that, and now every query which used the syslog macro will now get that updated version. It now has syslog email in the query. So this is actually how Gravwell can distribute kits that work even though people might ingest their data under different tags. For instance, the Gravwell syslog kit includes a macro named syslog, like we just defined, and at kit install time, we prompt the user to set it to whatever tag or tags containing their syslog data. Most people, we just leave it as syslog, but in this case, for instance, you might set it to this list of 5 tags. One other interesting feature of macros, they can take parameters. Suppose we want to find web server logs recording a particular HTTP status code. We could do this, tag equals Gravwell. We're going to look at the Gravwell logs. We're going to treat them as syslog. We're going to say app name is web server, so we filter this down to just the web logs. And status equals 404. There we find a nice 404 method. If we want to be able to run this query very quickly for whatever reason, if we want to run it frequently, we could actually create a macro with that whole query as a parameter. So let's just copy this. We're going to go into macros. We're going to create a new macro. We're going to call it, we're just going to call it grav for short. I'm going to paste in that query. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete 404 and I'm going to put in the little special parameter syntax here. So %1% means the first parameter passed to the macro gets filled in there. So give it a description, search Gravwell HTTP logs for a status. Okay, great. So let's save this. Now we're going to go back here, and if I just type grav and then I give it a parameter of 404, we can see it expands out nicely. Run that query, we get the same results as before. So in summary, Gravwell's macros can give you these really handy query shortcuts, and they let you extract out key elements such as a list of tags into a single location so you can later change a whole dashboard or a whole bunch of saved queries without having to modify every single individual one. So for more information, check out docs.gravwell.io, and thanks for watching.